What's up, Ramley? You are now in the kitchen with Chef Nixon for all your fixings for the latest and greatest of VCU men's basketball. So, VCU hosted Georgia Southern last night. How'd it go? Let's get into it. All right. So, Georgia Southern, they entered this game with a record of 5-3. Uh, like I mentioned in my last video, they lost to William and Mary pretty handily. And then they're also coming off a convincing loss to Drake, the University of Drake or Drake University, by 14. So this is a team. This is a team that is competitive. However, they're missing a few components that actually get them wins. As you can see, they still have a winning record, but as they go up in competition, they're going to get challenged. Um, and the road just got harder for them last night when it was announced pre-game that their leading scorer, Dante Holloman, will not be playing in this game. Holloman averaged 16 points a game, and going against a stingy VCU defense, along with a team that can really fill it up, um, they're gonna need all that they're gonna need all the points they can get. However, they do have a second leading scorer in Keviante White, who's averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds. He's going to have to step up his scoring output to make this game competitive with VCU. But Georgia Southern is a long, scrappy team. They play hard. They have good defense, and they're going to need their defense to set the tone if they want this game to be competitive and they want to have some success, um, especially against VCU. Now, on the flip side, you have VCU, who enters this game off a dominant win over Elizabeth City State, putting up 103 points, which has been the most points that VCU has scored in at least 10 years. Um, and they did it in great fashion. Shout out to Joey again. Um, but this is a game for VCU in which they should win. The Vegas odds say they should win by a good margin. Um, but in actuality, these are one of the games that you're going to need to use to work on things that you need to get better at. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you're playing, when you're scrimmaging yourself, things can get mundane. But when you're playing a team that you really should beat, it could turn into an opportunity for your team to really work on the things that they need to, as far as like closing games, or whether it's building confidence within the players, whether it's working on running the sets more effectively, whether it's um, figuring out where guys can contribute, uh, sharpening roles, those type of things. And I think last night was a good example of that as well. Um, and also, this is a semi-trap game. And the reason I say semi because they do play Penn next. But after that, they have Colorado State, which is a really good team, and then they have New Mexico, who's a really good team as well. And you don't want to look too far ahead and end up, dropping a game you shouldn't, especially not having the success that we would have liked in Charleston, right? Being that we are a high mid major in the A10, and the people who pick for the big dance don't really value the A10 the way that I feel like we should be valued, especially when everybody's transferring, everybody's moving around. You never know who's gonna win, who's gonna beat who. So all these things about, just because you're playing this conference, you should get extra. I'm not really subscribing to that until I see the level in which teams are playing. I feel like anybody could be anybody any given night. So it should just be. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, so let's get into this game. I first thought that VCU started off a little slow, a little sloppy, um, not really taking care of the ball. And the biggest thing, I think, that we just didn't match their energy off the tip. Um, it was ugly to watch. We weren't putting up points. We weren't getting stops like we should. Georgia Southern looked like they were bullying us on the defensive end. We were a little bit uncomfortable, and I think they really just caught us on our heels. Um, like I said, they're a scrappy team, and scrappy teams only know how to play one way, and they did what was best for them. However, However, uh, around the 12-minute mark is where we really started to get it going, and we went on a little bit of a run, led by Max Shoga, who hit like three threes early, really setting the tone. And to be honest with you, I think he had 17 points at half. He really bailed us out. Um, but again, this is a game where you can learn, and luckily you can learn from a win opposed to learning from a loss. Um, so starting off slow like that against a good team, we're going to be in trouble. But against Georgia Southern, we were able to withstand their first punch and come back and make a couple punches of our own. Now, one thing I will say we need to do better at just noticing, and I think the biggest violator of this is Joe Bamisill, but I think all of us, I mean, all VCU players have a habit of doing this, and it's the jump pass. If you watched that game last night, a lot of our turnovers, a lot of our ill-advised passes were when we weren't disciplined enough to just come to a 2 foot landing and pivot to find a pass, opposed to jumping in the air where you may think you have a pass, but then by the time you get off the floor, that pass has been taken away and you have nowhere else to throw it, so you end up forcing something that shouldn't be there. That and also missing free throws. Now, mind you, again, this isn't something that really bothered us yesterday per se, due to the fact that we're playing Georgia Southern. But we have a little issue with hitting free throws, and maybe it's because I don't know. We're just not locked in all the way. But with our lack of making free throws and our lack of intensity to start the gate, we still ended up going in the half 30, 31, 39. So not necessarily bad, but it just wasn't up to VCU standard. And I think that Coach Odom really emphasized that when he went back into that in the halftime. I mean, VCU shot. Let me see if I can pull it up. I can pull up the halftime stats. Oof. Halftime stats. Yeah, so the halftime stats. The field goal percentage was 40-39 Georgia Southern. 3-point percentage, match got hot, so we ended up shooting 38% to their 30. But our free throws, they're 80% to our 69. And some teams hover around 72%, 72%. But with our personnel, there's no way we should be shooting 69%. There's no way we should have struggles from the free throw line. Max Shoga shot a high 80s clip last year. Zeb Jackson shot 80s. Phil Russell and Bamisill have to pick it up. I think Bam's shooting like 60-some% from free throw line. He's too talented of a player to shoot that. He needs to get that better. Focus more on that. And then we have more turnovers I have too. Again, with those jump passes and whatnot. So there was a lot to work on. And I think that the message was delivered at halftime, because coming out the half, we started out with a more intense, focused effort on defense. We jumped out on Georgia Southern to a 12-1 run, and then from there it was curtains for real. To be honest with you, the intensity stayed high the whole game. VCU started to make good plays. Like I remember the play where Hill got a rebound, passed it up to Jack Clark. Jack Clark passes it to Billups for the three. Just the ball didn't touch the ground, into a transition three. Perfect. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of Luke Bamboye played extremely well, and his potential is really starting to show, especially in these last few games. And that's going to be something great for VCU moving forward, because there are some teams within the A10 who have some bigs who are and can be a problem, right? But I do want to talk about this. This is experience that I'm labeling the Phil Russell hustle. The Phil Russell hustle. He is such a pesky defender, and he does things to get under opponent's skin constantly. Whether it be just walking by the bench whispering something, whether it's giving the player a little bump, whether it's staying in their personal space. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a grab and a slight pull here without the ref seeing, and then a little bit of chatter in their ear, to the point where they get so frustrated where they can't even function. And this happened. This happened last night. Happened a couple games before as well, which led to him forcing a or tricking, I should say, a Georgia Southern player into elbowing him in the face, causing him to lead the game. Now this game was already over by that time, but at the same time, it's the Phil Russell hustle. He's hustling these players out of playing time, out of the game. You know what I mean? And I just from one defender to another, I truly appreciate that. So take that from here. It's the Phil Russell hustle. Um, yeah, and just the technical fouls is crazy. So VCU ends up getting a dominant win over Georgia Southern, 89-54. Um, moving on to the next game. For Georgia Southern, Aaron Banks led the way with 13 points. He had one rebound. Nikevion White, who's their player to watch for yesterday, really couldn't find a groove at all. Was really a non-factor within his game, especially him being the next man up to take the lead for Georgia Southern. He finished the game with 4 points and 4 rebounds. That was a good job by VCU's defense to really get him off his square. Now for VCU, I told you Max Shoga had a big first half, but he didn't stop in the first half. Cinemax Shoga, new movie, same production, 29 points, 4 rebounds for Max, which is actually a low end on the rebounding for him, but I'll take the 29 points. Phil Russell also chipped in 17 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds. And shout out to Fast Billups, who had 14 points and 5 rebounds. All right. Now I'd like to see him continue that. Hopefully he has been getting a little bit more playing time as the season progresses. Um, so I am happy. I am happy for that, and hopefully he can continue this little stride of success he has and get into some of the games that matter and really contribute. Well, let me not say games that matter. Get into games in the thick of the game where the game can be won or lost, and contribute that way. But even though Fats had a really good game yesterday, my low key player of the game goes to Luke Bamboye. Luke Luke Bamboye, he finished the game with 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 blocks. 5 blocks alone is a really good game. But if like I've been saying this, and it's been increasing every game, every game, every game. Now, mind you, these last 2 games have been against a D2 team in Georgia Southern, who's a true mid-major. Um, who they're a decent team. You're not world beaters. It's not like you're playing an ACC team or anything like that. But even when we did play Miami, I felt like he was able to get in there and give us really good minutes. Um, and here we are now, and since then we just seen him progress and progress and progress. Whether it be running the floor, whether it be changing shots, let alone blocking, just changing shots. He's going after everything. He's going after the rebounds. He's running the floor well. Of course, he's still making some fresh mistakes from here to there, but at the same time, his his play is outplaying his mistakes. You know what I mean? He's really contributing and bringing energy on the defensive end that we really been missing. I haven't seen something like this. Like he'll have a stretch, right? He'll have a stretch where I haven't seen something like it since maybe like Mo Alley Cox, or dare I say Larry Sanders, his freshman year. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to put some more weight on, get a little bit stronger, and I think that will come. Uh, but with the 2 young guards we have now, and Lord knows who we're going to get in next year, um, it's going to be extremely exciting to see him, even throughout this season. Exciting to see him develop into a player where he's going to get major minutes. Um, and as good as he's getting, it's going to push Furman to get better as well. So it's an all around plus for VCU. I'm really excited for Luke Bamboye. I seen Zeb Jackson kind of gimped out of the game yesterday. It looks like he had like a hamstring issue. Hopefully he's fine. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of good things going on for VCU. They have a couple days off before their next game on the 9th, which is, let's move forward. The game on the 9th is versus the University of Penn. They're right now 3-5. They have some talent on their team. However, they can't. They're another team just like Georgia Southern, who's competitive, but they haven't been able to put the right things together to get wins. They're led by Ethan Roberts, who's a 6'5" forward, averaging 18 points per game, 6 rebounds. They have Nick Spinzoso, weird, who's 6'9", averaging 11 points, 7 rebounds, and Sam Brown, who's averaging 11 points and 4 rebounds as well. Now, this game is a traditional trap game. You know, like I said, they're gonna play a game before then, so they may end up coming into this game 3-6, 4-6. I mean, 3-6 or 4-5. Um, but either way, when you look at a team's record, it can cause you to relax, and I urge VCU to stay on edge, and be on edge every game because you never know who's going to have a hot night, who's going to rise to the occasion, play above their meter, type of thing. And when you have a guy averaging, I don't care where you have, you're averaging 18 points, you can have a really high night. You can have a really hot night. Like Nevada, I thought that we played, I thought we played really good against Nevada, but you had a couple guys do stuff that they weren't used to doing. You know what I'm saying? Hit a couple shots, and all it really takes is one shot in the right time to really, change the game. So I urge VC to stay on edge, stay focused, run through the wall, beat Penn like you've been beating all these other teams, and get ready to face Colorado. But first, take care of the task at hand. So great win for them. I'm really liking what I see from VCU this year. And I'm liking what I'm seeing from the young guys. The young guys being able to come in and give good minutes. So we have 3 freshmen now, but by the time we start conference, hopefully we don't have any freshmen at all. We just have contributing players, if you know what I mean. All right. So that's all I got for y'all today. Remember, never quit. Stay humble. Before I do that, we will have a crock pot for the Penn game. Tune in. I'll be posting today, just to inform people, give a little preview what we're going to be doing. Spread the word. If I tag you, please share. Invite a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get the crock pot jumping. So yeah, now never quit. Stay humble. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.